Oh, good evening, world. Just out here on my front porch doing some push-ups and just thinking to myself what it was like for me to be in the Navy, being a sailor, Sailor kind of, through the late 60s and the 70s and the 80s, it became joked upon that sailors were gay, YMCA song, the sailor suit stuff. You know how it got there. So yeah, and then you look at the Army and especially the Marines, and you look at the Air Force, and you see how they all came out of the Navy. The Navy was the ultimate power of a country way back in the day. Caesar times, Viking times, all these times. The people that were powerful, had a powerful Navy, pretty much controlled crap until another more powerful Navy came up. And when it came to the United States, nothing more could be true. Like, you just look, old Ironsides, USS Constitution, it's still in Boston Harbor. It's amazing. I've been on it. I know guys that I worked with in the Seabees that were stationed taking care of it and maintaining it, and it's still there. That's what Navy power used to be. And the armies were no good, because without the Navy they couldn't get to where they needed to go back in the day. And then the Air Force didn't come around until way later, but the Navy was the first ones to put an airfield on a ship and make it work. Like, you have no idea how long ago they did that. So there's your Air Force, all your best aviators for, the Navy Blue Angels. Come on now. All other ones have them, The Army has the parachute guys, and it's funny, but special ops community all came from, it all originated in the Navy, and then that's basically what the Marines were. That's what recon, that's what snipers, that was all guys that had a lot of training in shooting, but they were all sailors. They just called them Marines because they got really good at defending their ship against other ships, and they got really good at going ashore and clearing a beachhead for the ship, because that's where all the supplies was. They carried everything with them, including men to fight wars, especially decision-changing stuff like coming ashore stealthily and just messing stuff up and that's recon. So you don't have that without the Navy. And there's going to be a lot of guys that say a bunch of horse shit to that. Well, you might be right, but it doesn't seem like it to me. And that's where you got your warriors from, was the Navy. They started it all. Like, that's where the Wright brothers did their first flight. It's just like, that was on a naval base. So anyways, so what I'm getting at is, the gay thing just came, and in a weird way, when you're stuck on a ship with a bunch of dudes doing manly stuff, hoping you didn't die, because you couldn't run away like if you're on land. Where are you gonna go? You're on a ship. So the balls to do that, period, is ridiculous. I don't care who you are. The balls it takes to, and I never served on a ship. I've been on a bunch of ships, but I've never served on one. And the balls it takes, and Marines and sailors still go on ships together, still to this day. It's funny to me that we all forget where we came from, and as though, yeah, we have perfected it and called it our own thing now, like the Marines, the Army, and all that stuff like that. Well, the Army's always been there, but it used to be battles were won over the territory you could take close to the water, because that's where all the major, and if that's where you want to see battles, that was the way that the world was taken over, you know. It's the way we came to America. It was the way that things were. And I was in the Navy, and I was a Navy Seabee, and we had to go through Navy boot camp, which, I don't know, most Seabees I knew said the boot camp was a joke. And to me, it was too. The only thing it did for me is put the fear that if I didn't do it the way it had been done for hundreds of years, but always looking for ways to make it better, when you have to learn how to be that person, first you have to learn how to follow the way it's always been done. And that's huge in Navy history. And anything you do in the Seabees, in the Navy, any warfare pin, anything that you get in, it's all grounded on history and how you got there, and the debt you owed to the guy before you, and the debt you owe to the guy next to you. And it's all about honor, loyalty, and country. So what I'm saying is, don't underestimate. And of course, everybody wants to say the Navy SEALs, but you know, there's SEALs out there that aren't in the Navy, you know. Special ops and stuff like that, they can cross-train and stuff like that, so you can still hold the designation as a SEAL. Just look at David Goggins. The guy spent millions of dollars of military money on getting every special ops school he could possibly get, and I guess just kind of a waste of money, because I know he had done deployments, or a deployment, I'm not really sure, but hey, the SEALs aren't all what it's cut out to be too. Yeah, they do important stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of righteous, honorable, God-fearing guys in the SEALs, but anymore, it just seems like they're trying to capitalize off of training that came before them, the reason why the SEALs were who they were. So they lost who they were and tried to make it all about them, if you ask my opinion. Love the SEAL community. I love them. I'm just, hey, just having supported them for so long, and many operations, not even in my last command, but having supported them, knowing that they're prima donnas. They have no idea the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to make it so they're there on that day to do that job. And rightly so, they train hard for it. But what I've always said, and a lot of other things in the world, is, you know how you win wars? You win wars by using the least amount of men to logistically outtake another country. It's all about logistics. Logistics of men, food, money, weapons. It's all logistics. It's all maintaining that at such a level, whereas you are doing everything to the utmost of our hundreds of years of training, also taken from other countries too, and blended into our own backwoods country stuff, you know. That's what Marines were. They were just Navy guys. They were just some country boys that had to be on a ship. Sorry to say, but takes balls to ride off into the sunset to defend and conquer things. You're out there in the open, and you're out there in Mother Nature. You're out there in God's territory. You know, even with those big ships, if something goes wrong and somebody doesn't get their job done, that is a lot of people that die. That's how many people are on those ships now. So we need to know that and you know the best at logistics are is the Seabees, the Navy Seabees. I'm telling you, ever since their induction into the military right after Pearl Harbor, and that's in our theme song. Look it up, the Seabee song, the Seabee theme song. I'm a Seabee. Anyways, hey, bees of the 7 seas, brothers. I know some of you guys out there, but yeah, wars are won by packing a huge wallop, by overcoming odds of hard work with the least amount of people, because that's what men can do. That's what Seabees can do, and that's our motto too. So, hey, a lot of the underwater demolition, all that comes back to being Seabees. So, you know how you win a war? You go back to the way the Navy used to do it. But overcoming odds with great technology, a love of God, and country boys who like to play in the dirt. And you will get anything done logistically, in a matter of speaking. God's still the best at that. So, yeah, that's how you win a war. That's what being in the Navy means, if you want to call that gay. Have a good night. May God bless us all. One love.